My 17-year-old female parents split up when I was 12 years old because my dad had an affair with my mom's best friend for 2 years. Being with mom's best friend since they were 3 years old was a huge shame. The people who were close to my dad tried to get my mom to forgive him, but she chose to leave him instead. A lot of my mom's family stopped talking to her because of this, and some of her friends also turned against her best friend because of it. Mom was really upset. She has seen 2 different therapists over the years to talk about the pain she went through. It took a while for my dad to break up with mom's best friend. Then my dad understood he loved my mom. He did everything he could to get her back, but she wouldn't listen to him. He was still seeing mom's best friend Sylvia on and off. My dad would always try to use guilt to get my mom to get back together with him, which is why I was in such a mess. He has told me things like, "I wish we were a family together. It was a mistake. I'm ready to do anything to make things right. Your mom doesn't want to be a family again, but I do." It was enough for me. When I turned 15, I chose to stay with my mom and only go see my dad on the weekends because I can't take all of his teasing. Also, my mom started dating Jack around that time, and Jack was the dad of one of my classmates. When my dad found out, he began to ask lots of questions about Jack. He told me to keep an eye on Jack, but I was sick of it. That's why I told him very clearly that I would cut him off if he didn't stop this nonsense. My mom told me a few months ago that she is going to marry Jack. They got proposed in just a few days, and they only wanted a small ceremony with close family that day. There were only 15 people there, my son and I, as well as some close family and friends. The wedding took place in Jack's yard. They also had a photographer, but my mom didn't post the pictures until she got back from her vacation. My mom didn't want my dad to know, so he didn't. She thought my dad would make a scene and start a fight. I respected what she wanted. After seeing those pictures, my dad called me to make sure. My mom got married not long ago, so I said yes. My dad was mad. He called me a traitor and an a-hole for not telling him because he had every right to know who my mom was, married. I told him to go away because this was the last straw for me. He lost all touch with mom as soon as he decided he was interested in Sylvia. My mom knew he was crazy, so I'm glad she didn't tell him. I also told him to hang up and left us alone. I read the texts he sent to my mom as well. He mostly said that she was breaking up our family in them. Keep in mind that he's seeing Sylvia again. Based on what my friends have told me, my dad has been acting strangely ever since. I'm not sure if I took it too far. This is what people said before reading the update. No way, you're right. Hall, your dad and his family are a bunch of jerks. Yes, they really did want your mom to stay with that trashy husband, even though he's so gross. That's right, he lost all support from his ex-wife and his family as soon as he cheated on her. Your mom went through a breakup and betrayal that were really hard to get over. I'm glad she finally found someone worth it. Good luck with your mom's wedding. Thanks. I'm glad she was able to find happiness on her own. I thought she might never date again, but Jack seems like a good person. I'm still scared. What if it ends up like Dad? After what you've been through, that sounds like a fair thing to be scared of. But I worry that it might be having too much of an effect on you. Do you think it would be good to talk to a therapist about that fear? It could be useful. It's likely to happen, but it won't stop it. A lot of my nervousness and fears came from the way my parents interacted when I was a child. That's why I went to therapy. It's not about stopping it, but about getting back in charge. Those thoughts are still with me, but they don't control me or make me unable to do anything. They used to decide what I did and how I interacted with other people. Now I can think my way through them and get over my worries. His child has nothing to do with these things. And you're right not to give in to his requests. You probably already know that, but here it is in case you need to hear it again. I am not sure if telling your ex-spouse that you are getting married is right or wrong. I'm not sure what to do. Because my mom didn't want a lot of people to know about the wedding, I did what she asked. That was the right thing to do. If he really wants to care, it's only to know who is around his child. He should have asked her directly, but it's clear that's not why he cares. He shouldn't want you to write about her personal life. Now for the news. A few days ago, something strange took place. Sylvia went to my mom's house. It happened to me. It seems that Dad broke up with Sylvia again so that Mom would know how much he wants to get her back. It's unclear how long that will last. Also, my dad got into a fight with a stranger in a bar while he was drunk. I guess he is still dealing with the fact that he knows Mom won't be leaving him. Thank God he didn't file a report. I talked to him about things that were important to me, or at least I tried to. If he loves Mom so much, why did he cheat on her? He gave me answers that didn't make sense. For men, he said, it's hard to hold back the emotions. At that moment, Sylvia was making out with him, so he tried it. He thought it would only happen once and then break up with her, but it went on for a long time. He told me I wasn't a man, so I wouldn't get it. A man can cheat on his wife and still love her and die for her. He loves my mom, but he also wants to be with other people. There wasn't much to say, so I didn't ask for much. His son-in-law shouldn't treat me badly like he did my mom, I just told him. That question was never answered by him. I still can't believe he still thinks he is the good guy. Anyway, I'm thinking about making my mom my forever home. I'm sure Sylvia will now stop by his house. Could someone please explain what he means? I've always thought you'd cheat on your partner because you don't love them. There's a chance I'm wrong. He's making excuses, which is what cheaters do. Anyone, man or woman, can choose to keep it in their pants even if they want to. Yes, you would wear clothes around other people if you really loved and cared about them. He did something very bad with her best friend, which is even worse. Your mom lost her husband and his sister in a way. When she comes back, dude, she's married again. After dumped him, she's been hit with a lot of negative opinions, so she can't go back to him. I hope this is the last step of your dad's grief over hurting himself. For some reason, drama seems to go hand in hand with love and passion, but your dad needs to understand that your mom is not one of those people. I totally agree with Team Mom that she valued herself more than her miserable ex-husband did. It was too late so many years ago. Love, pain, and other things. People are so different. Perhaps it's too broad to say for sure, but I think your dad loved the idea that he was better than your mom more than he loved your mom. If someone has problems in their family history, I think they should talk to professionals to help them figure it out and get a healthier view of relationships instead of listening to their toxic drama dad. It will affect you for the rest of your life if you don't. I know this from personal experience. I don't understand the win her back feeling because he just said that he will still cheat on her even if he does get her back. Of course, she made it very clear that that is a deal breaker, but he still thinks that he can be married to his ex-wife and have this other woman at the same time, that Sylvia was always looking at him and that your stupid dad failed on a trip because it made him feel great about himself. Luckily for him, your mom is a queen and threw him away when she found out. You didn't think about this, but she moved on and met a better man. That's too much for him. He went back to seeing Sylvia because he's weak and can't stand being alone. There are lots of men who love and honor their wives, so his disgusting reasons should be thrown away. Now they are both facing karma. Your dad will definitely lose your mom, and that woman will never get the man she wants. Mia Hall for not letting my ex-wife move in with her new boyfriend and take our daughter. I have no idea how to begin. My ex-spouse and I share custody of our wonderful 9-year-old daughter. I'm not the real father of my daughter. When she was 3, I found out she wasn't mine. I broke up with my ex, but I stayed involved with my daughter's life because I was already dead and your dad wasn't interested. Our kids live with both of us, and other than the last year, we've been able to co-parent well. I got mad at my ex about 18 months ago for worrying about things while she was parenting. I won't go into specifics, but we lost the ability to co-parent. She went to court against me and tried to get a DNA test and have my name taken off the birth certificate so that my daughter would not have a dad. This was when my daughter was 7.5 years old. I had died before she was born. I hired a lawyer, and to make a long story short, It did not go well for her at all. The hearing officer thought what she was trying to do was disgusting because my daughter knew me as dad and we were very close. I showed that I'm a good dad. That means I pretty much got to make the rules for the parenting plan. What I was paying in child support was cut by a lot, and I could claim my daughter on my taxes every other year. We made up and got back to co-parenting like we used to after the parenting plan was in place. Threats to keep my daughter away from me stopped, and my ex-spouse valued me as a co-parent a lot more now that she doesn't have to go to court again. I have voice recordings of her saying that she did drink and drive one time while my daughter was in the car. There are also a few other things that have happened since she went to court. That was a few months ago. Now, my ex-boyfriend meets someone and starts hanging out with them a lot. He seems like a spoiled brat based on what my daughter and ex-wife say about him. I have nothing against him, and everyone I talk to about my daughter only good things about him. After meeting for about 8 weeks, my ex-girlfriend tells me she's moving in with my daughter to live with him, which is about 1.5 hours away. For this to happen, she would have to leave everything she knows, move farther away from me, and switch schools to one that is much worse. My ex has a bad history with guys and has been in a lot of bad relationships. Because of how badly he beat her, one of the guys became one of my state's most wanted criminals. But that was before my daughter was born. He is the real father of my daughter. Being together for only 8 weeks, I told my ex that she could move in with him, but my daughter would not be joining them. If they did, we would have to rethink the cost of the arrangement so that I have main physical custody. My ex got mad and told me that her boyfriend, who she loves very much, is threatening to leave her if they don't move in together because they live too far apart. That was another sign that the relationship is so weak that this could lead to the end of it. Because of how my ex has been in the past with relationships, I'm scared she'll end up living with this guy and getting into fights or violent situations where she can't get away. My daughter would see all of this. Besides ours, every other relationship has had violence in it. I told my ex that she could renew her lease, and I will do the same if they are still together and happy in a year. I would also be willing to move to that city to make things easier for everyone, including our daughter, and I wouldn't mind if she lived there. Some parts of me think I'm being rude and controlling by pretty much telling my access partner how to run their relationship. But other parts of me think my worries are valid and that my daughter's life shouldn't be uprooted for a relationship that is only 8 weeks old. Because my ex has made bad choices in the past, I feel like I have a moral duty to kind of keep her from making some of the choices she does that affect my daughter. What I've given up to make sure my daughter has a safe life, and I've always been the most stable person around her. In part, this is why we are so close. I know this is a long story with more to it, but am I being too controlling? It's important for me to keep my child safe, but I also want my ex to be happy. The fear of going to court is what I'm using to control my ex, and I'm not afraid to follow through with it. There isn't a hole, and it sounds like the only parent takes care of your daughter. Do that again, because it's clear that your ex isn't. She tries, and we know she loves our daughter, but sometimes she does bad things that are only about herself. Is there a limit on where you can live in your custody agreement with your ex? For example, does it say that one of you can't move more than X miles away or to a nearby county? This is how things are in Texas. You can also tell your ex that you will take her back to court for the reasons you listed above. This will make her afraid of going back to court. The price of the deal says that our daughter has to stay in the states where we live now, which is pretty much what I'm doing. The fear of going back to court is what I'm using to stop this from happening. She just called me to tell me that they are not going to move in together. She is heartbroken that he is leaving her now. It makes me feel bad, but I don't think I had a choice. Wow, the fact that he broke up with her over this shows that you were right to be worried. Also, I would never ever want my kids to live with someone my ex had only known for 8 weeks. That's really wrong, but in my case it's important because she left them 13 years ago. I agree with everything you say. It makes a lot of my worries go away, but my ex is distraught and blames me, not him. I'm going to have to deal with that and keep my kid safe from it. No way, no how, not an a-hole. Moving that quickly and being alone are both signs of dangerous behavior. You're doing the right thing by trying to keep your kids safe. That's great. This guy is trying to keep your ex and your daughter apart, and you don't know him. Don't let it happen. If you need to, go back to court. Don't let your daughter be with him by herself. This is totally wrong. All of my friends tell me I should go back to court, but it's not that easy. It takes 6 months to even see a judge, and the case will be put off more than once. It might be more than a year before we get any kind of progress. She would have moved on by then. Besides that, you need $5,000 to hold an attorney's attention. For family court, you need an attorney, but I don't have that money. That's still with me from the last time we went to court. The rent went up and I paid child support. In order for me to say give me primary custody, I need to keep my daughter's home secure. Everyone tells me to just go to court and let him win, and I probably will. I can show that I'm a better mom. But it takes a long time and costs a lot of money, but that comes with a lot of risk. I could get full custody before the meeting with an emergency order. That's not okay with judges, and you need a really good reason. Also, my daughter will be hurt because she won't understand why she can't see mom. Her schedule would be thrown off, and I can't tell her what's going on or why I'm doing what I'm doing because that would make her feel even worse about me. This is why the fear of court can work better than court itself. It's not easy at all.